Salam and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. We are busy with the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, where he asked his people from a logical point of view that why are you worshipping these pieces of stone and rock which you have basically made with your own hands? They cannot eat, they cannot talk, they cannot even defend themselves. And instead of listening to him, his people threw him into a huge bonfire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected him. Now, even though the people were seeing this great miracle, where a person, a human being made out of flesh and bones, has been thrown into a huge bonfire. I mean, from a medical point of view, he should have got first degree, second degree, third degree burns, and he wouldn't have survived from the flames and the fire. Yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the fire to be cool, and he was not burnt in any way. So this was a great miracle that they saw with their own eyes, yet they refused to believe. So he said, Ibrahim alayhi salam said, I will go to my Lord. He will surely guide me. O my Lord, Ya Rabbal Alameen, grant me a righteous son. So we gave him the good news of a boy, ready to suffer and forbear. Then, when the son reached the age of serious work with him, he said, O my son, I see in a vision that I offer you in sacrifice. Now see, what is your view? The son said, O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah so wills, one practicing patience and constancy, one of the ones who got sabr. Now in here, Ibrahim alayhi salam, remember he was now an old man, 90s or 100s, and he did not have any offspring. In that he is the handmaiden of Sarah, his first wife, who was some authorities say that she was an Egyptian princess, others say she was a handmaiden, and she gave the handmaiden to Abraham as his wife. And from there he got the issue of his firstborn, which is known as Ishmael, or the Prophet Ismail. And a few years later, I think about 15 or 16 years later, he then had a second son, Ishaq alayhi salam, or Isaac, from his first wife, Sarah. Now, the dream of a prophet is the truth. So whenever a prophet gets a dream, that means that that is a guarantee of the truth. So we know in history, we know that the prophet Joseph, or Yusuf alayhi salam, at the beginning of chapter 12, when he gets the dream that, oh my father, he tells his father Jacob, or Yaqub alayhi salam, oh my father, I see in a dream that the sun is prostrating to me, the moon is prostrating to me, and 11 stars are prostrating to me. His father got very worried. His father was also a prophet. His father was elder than Yusuf. His father had the ability to interpret dreams, but not yet Joseph. Joseph was not yet given the skill or the ability to interpret dreams. This came much later in his life, when he started interpreting dreams for the people in the prison, and then the dreams of the king who had the dream of the 7 fat cows and the 7 thin cows. So when Yusuf alayhi salam gave his dream to his father immediately realized that, you know what, this dream is a true dream, and that the sun represents Yaqub alayhi salam, the moon represents his wife, the mother of Yusuf, which is Raquel, and then the 11 stars represent his 11 brothers. And if they are going to hear about this great honor that's going to be bestowed on Joseph, because the only time people will worship you or bow down to you or prostrate you is if you are a king. So basically, he's being given the good news that one day his son is going to become a king of a land. He does not know which land. Yet Jacob does not know at this stage that he will end up in Egypt. He just knows that, okay, one day he's going to become a king and people are going to bow down to him when they enter the royal chamber. So he told his son Yusuf, keep your mouth closed, because envy is going to destroy. Envy from Satan or Shaitan has destroyed families. Similarly, in this case, when Ibrahim alayhi salam got the dream that he is now sacrificing his son Ishmael alayhi salam, also a prophet. So before carrying out the dream, he asks his son, what is your opinion? Now his son is also an outstanding person filled with sabr and patience and constancy. And immediately, without any hesitation, and this is the sign of a Muslim, one who submits their will to the Creator. So he says, oh my dear father, I know that this dream is very traumatic for you. Because remember that Ismail alayhi salam is the firstborn. And when Ismail was born, you can imagine how any father would do. At the age of 90 or 100 years, you're waiting for 100 years for a son to be born. And now you're playing with him, you're kissing him, you're changing his nappies, you're taking him for a walk in the park, and so on and so on. And here now you are being given a dream, which is a command, which is an instruction, that now this love of your life, the apple of your eye, you must now slaughter this child. A very, very great big test. And part of the reason for this is that even though you love your child so much, there is someone else you must love more, and that you must love your Creator more than your child. That means that no matter how intense that love is for your child, you must actually have overflowing love for your Creator. So this is a test. If you fail the test, that means you will only be loving your child and not the Creator to that extent. So you've got to show it physically. And we know the story that when he wants to slaughter his son, and Satan or Shaitan or the devil comes to tempt him or to deceive him, to say, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? That is just a dream, man. What's wrong with you? It doesn't mean you must kill your son. And Abraham ignored him. And he walked a bit further. Again, the devil came. What's wrong with you, man? Hey, wake up, wake up, wake up. What are you doing? You want to kill your own child. That's your firstborn. What's wrong with you? You're old, man. You're not going to get any more children. What are you doing? Think properly what you're doing. And Abraham ignored him again. And he went again for the third time. And then he put his son on this rock. But he told his son to turn away. And his son told his father, I am turning away. I'm closing my eyes. You don't worry. You just do what you're instructed to do. And as Abraham picked up the knife, and as he's bringing the knife down, the angel brought a ram or a sheep, so that the knife went onto the neck of the sheep and not on Ismail alayhi salam. Basically, he passed the test. It was not necessary for him to slaughter Ismail alayhi salam. And to honor that tradition, when Muslims go on the annual pilgrimage, and the annual pilgrimage is once in your lifetime, only if you can afford it. If you've got the health and the wealth and the means and the ability to do that, then you go and fulfill that rituals or rites of the pilgrimage. And one of the aspects of that pilgrimage that we do is that people follow the steps of Abraham and Ishmael. And they have the pelting of Satan or the devil to say, you will not deceive us in this world. We will not be deceived by people like Epstein, or deceived by people like Hollywood stars, or deceived by people in big shots who are wearing suit and tie and who are trying to deceive us through their false media perpetuation. Because all of you, the elite of the elite, the wealthy people of the world, you want world control and world domination. We will not listen to you, because you are promoting your own LGBT agenda, and you're promoting your own cisgender and transgender and various other things. You're distorting the English language. Instead of he and she, you're saying they and them and all of that. We will not listen to you. We will not listen to you when you are showing gay men kissing each other on the TV. We will rather change the TV channel because we don't like that type of thing. We will listen to what our God most merciful has told us. We will follow the way of the truth and not be deceived by people like you who are pushing your own woke agenda onto the world. And that is why the Muslims then felt Satan or Shaitan or the devil to say, you will not enter our brains. We chuck you out from our brains, right? Because we are honorable, we are kind, and we are intelligent people. We will not follow the way of the devil. And the part of the way that the sacrifice, then the conclusion of the pilgrimage, is that the pilgrims will then sacrifice, whether it is a sheep or a camel or a cow and so on. The bigger the animal, the bigger the shares. For example, I think a camel or a cow is 7 shares, whereas a sheep or a goat is 1 share. Right, so let's continue with this. Then when the son reached the age of serious work with him, he said, "Oh my son, I see in a vision that I offer you in sacrifice. Now see, what is your view?" The son said, "Oh my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah so wills, one practicing patience and constancy." So when they had both submitted their wills to Allah, and the minute you submit your wills, it means you are a Muslim. One who submits their will to the divine will. Your own will, your nafs or your ego will say, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But you submit your nafs to the will of the Creator Supreme, and thereby you are a Muslim. So, when they had both submitted their wills to God most merciful, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he had laid him prostrate on his forehead for sacrifice, we called out to him, "O Abraham, Ya Ibrahim, you have already fulfilled the vision. Thus indeed do we reward those who do right." For this was obviously a trial. It was a huge trial for Abraham alayhi salam. And we ransomed him with a momentous sacrifice. And we left this blessing for him among generations to come in later times. Peace and salutation to Abraham. Thus indeed do we reward those who do right. For he was one of our believing servants. And we gave him the good news of Isaac, a prophet, one of the righteous. We blessed him and Isaac, but of their progeny are some that do right and some that obviously do wrong to their own souls. So please remember that the Quran is also known as Al-Furqan, that tells you the difference between right and wrong. So if you want to return safely to your Creator, choosing the way of right instead of choosing the way of wrong, then please get a copy of the Quran today. Do not delay. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.